You know what it is. Welcome to another edition of the WhoIs podcast with myself, Quicksilva. Of course, being brought to you by Red Bull Gives You Wings. But today I'm very excited because I get to sit down with my OG, one of my mentors, someone that I respect and look up to for a lot of different reasons. I'm talking none other than the legendary Russ Parr is here, ladies and gentlemen. Russ Parr is here. Russ Parr.
Legendary makes me seem so old, but it's okay.
No, man, this is
I take it as an honor.
I mean, this is an honor, man. Like when you think of legends in the business, and I know everybody uses that word so loosely. Everybody's a legend right now. They've been around for 3 years and they're a legend, right? But Russ Parr is someone who has, for decades, entertained, inspired, motivated, innovated for decades, but I always like to start with the same question. Let's just assume there's somebody watching or listening and they have no idea who you are. They've never heard of you, never seen you, never heard of any of your movies, any of that stuff. Right. If I had to ask you to describe who is Russ Parr, how would Russ Parr answer that?
A God-fearing young man that took him a minute to realize that all the gifts that have been bestowed upon me, I used to think it was me, but it's not. And as I learn and to walk in faith, I realize that even all the foul things that I say on the radio, you know, it was inspired by somebody. It wasn't telling me. I used to take credit for all that, but I don't do that anymore. I know that everything happens for a reason.
Facts.
And I really do believe that God has really kind of gotten me where I am and able to share my gifts with so many people.
Yes.
So I would say that in particular, not any one movie or any one, radio station. Right. It's just my faith. And it's been inspiring for me.
Let's take it back to day one. Where are you originally from?
I'm from California. I was born in San Antonio, Texas, but I never lived there because my father was in the Air Force.
Gotcha.
So I lived in Central California, Atwater, Merced, California. Then moved up to Los Angeles and spent the majority of my life in LA.
Got you. Now, before we get to Russ Parr days, a lot of people don't remember a guy by the name of Bobby Jimmy. A lot of people had no idea, and it's crazy because, of course, when I first heard of Bobby Jimmy, I didn't know you personally yet. Right. But then when I meet you, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Bobby Jimmy. Who is Bobby Jimmy for somebody who might not remember who Bobby Jimmy is?
I was on the radio. I got first hired at 1580 K-Day, which was like the first 24-hour hip hop station.
That's a good round of applause. That's a big deal. Don't just skim past that.
And a brother by the name of Steve Woods, who basically gave me a shot. Because I used to do voices and all that stuff way back then. Right. Before I was born, because you're old. I'm joking. Yes. No, that's true. And he came up with the name Bobby Jimmy. And I said, well, where'd you come up with that? He said, in broadcasting class, there was always a person named Bobby Jimmy.
Wow.
And I just took it because I didn't care. I didn't think that Bobby Jimmy was going to be anything until I found out it was a business. You know, I think one of my first records was called Big Butt. I had one before that, but Big Butt was the one that hit. It was a parody of Big Mouth. You got a big mouth.
Of course.
You got a big butt. And then when the record company handed me a check for $300,000.
And this is back when?
This is back in, you're trying to date me here.
That's why people understand how much money that was.
Yeah, this was back in the mid-'80s.
Wow.
And because I was getting $1 a record.
That's crazy.
And it was crazy because that record just blew up. And I remember Leora Cohn will probably not remember this, but he used to come to LA and he would grab these records and we gave him about 3 or 4 cases and he started selling it in the streets of New York. The record blew up. And what eventually happened, because I didn't take it seriously until I got that check.
Yeah, money will motivate you.
Oh, yeah. And I said, you know what? I started my own label and started bringing other artists. And then I eventually signed with Ruthless Records. Dr. Dre used to produce a lot of my earliest stuff.
Give that a round of applause, man. And I love how Russ Parr is just saying it so loosely. Like, I was with Ruthless Records, Ruthless and the NWA, Dr. Dre.
I got to tell you, Eric's wife still will send me a check today.
And Eric is easy eat for those who don't know.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But she ran that business perfectly. But when I was with Ruthless, it was tough because Dre was in such demand.
Yes.
Excuse me.
No, just more.
Yeah,
You good. Take your time.
I just got through snorting some cocaine and dripping down the back of my throat.
You never know when he's joking, by the way,
guys. But Dr. Dre was so tough to get him back in studio because he was doing one of my favorite rappers, DOC, and who's just brilliant. One of the best rappers of all time.
Was it Funky Enough? One of my favorite records.
But, after his accident, obviously, you know, a lot of his time was for writing for a lot of the other artists.
Yeah.
But I could tell you so many stories from those recording studios with Easy and Dre and a lot of these guys thought they were tough guys, and a lot of them weren't. It was all an act.
But how was that? You got to think, when you think NWA and Ruthless Records and Dr. Dre and Eazy-E and MC Ren and DOC, you think one of the bursts of gangster rap.
Right.
But then you have a Bobby Jimmy, who's not a gangster rapper, but a parody rapper.
Yeah, and it got
on
to
the
the
same
point,
label. How does that work?
It was funny because I think a couple of different stories. Bobby Jimmy did parodies of other people's records. I was kind of like doing Weird Al Yankovic before he was doing it.
So you before Weird Al?
Yes.
Give that a round of applause. Yeah. Come on.
But some artists got, hey, he did a parody of my record and we've tripled sales. But there were some that didn't dig it. I remember I was on tour with a lot of East Coast rappers, Joeski Love and Houdini and Eric B. and Rakim. And Eric B. did not like me doing a parody of one of their records.
Right.
And he
tried to come see you?
Oh, he tried to come see me on the bus in Dallas. We just got off the stage and they just joined our tour. And there was a rift between New York and LA at that time. And we became so close. All of us were on the road for a couple of weeks. And when he got on the bus, he thought, where's Bobby Jimmy? I said, here I am. Motherfucker, you probably not going to remember all this shit, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And so he called me off the bus. I got off the bus and all my New York rapper friends, right behind me. And they're like, Can't Go Kid, all them dudes are right behind me.
That's so
You fuck with him, you fucking with us. I said, no, it's okay. I thought I was a little street thug. I thought I could, I handle this young dude. But I wasn't sure. But it was really good that, that they had my back. Because one of the first times when I went to New York, after Big Buck took off, I went to the Roxy. And I was on stage.
Which is a big deal for those who don't know.
Yeah. And it was packed. And the crowd was going nuts. I said, oh, you got a big butt, and started doing that whole thing. And then all of a sudden, yeah, man, we from Los Angeles. It's like a pin could drop. That, like, not going anywhere.
Right.
I was like, all of a sudden, security started rushing the stage. I said, what's going on? Is there a fight back there or something?
Right.
I said, man, you shouldn't have said where you're from. Because they literally, it stopped them. They didn't dig it because I think a lot of the East Coast rappers felt that they invented it, and before NWA, it was Too Short. Too Short was the guy.
Yeah.
Ice-T before all them.
Yeah.
I was with all them cats. We were touring all together.
That's crazy.
Everlast, been on both sides. I remember Everlast was driving a bus. We driving down in California, man. Anyway, I said, man, this motherfucker keep his eyes on the road. We take turns, and right. There's so many stories I forgot about, and I was sitting here with you. I started thinking of them, but we got rushed off the stage in New York. He says, well, we're taking you off the stage for your safety.
That is
crazy. I said, I'm with it. Just show me where the airport is.
Right. And you still got your check, though.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you got paid, I got
to walk through the door.
And it's crazy because you're talking about Big Buck. When I think of Bobby Jimmy, the first two records that come to mind is Hair, Weave.
Right.
Weave.
Him or me.
Him or me.
Yeah.
So Hair, Weave, and then, of course,
Roaches.
Roaches.
Roaches was big for me.
Look at all these roaches.
But I'll tell you what's interesting. Harold Weave, we had the big 12 inches back then, right? You have A side and B side.
B side, yeah.
On Harold Weave, that was supposed to be my record. Did it with DJ Unknown. And, you probably know all these DJs.
I do. I've been around for a while too.
Okay. But, and DJ Pooh and all these guys were my guys.
Legends.
What happened was on the B side was a parody of Hammer's Let's Get It Started.
I think I've heard that
It was
before.
Somebody Farted.
Oh.
That got picked up on all the white stations in the country. Wow. And I'm like, well, they weren't even paying attention because the white folks didn't understand the hair and weave stuff. But the B side, I remember my first years on the radio in Dallas, the rock station and the pop stations across the street were blowing up Bobby Jimmy. They had no idea
it was you.
I'm competing against you.
How dope is that?
Oh man, that was power. I was like, do you guys realize
You're
that's my
promoting
record?
No, but,
Hey, would you guys like to have Bobby Jimmy on your show?
Absolutely.
I walk in, man, but that's Russ Parr. Same people.
This is so crazy. So I'm just listening to you. So in the 80s, you made millions.
I didn't necessarily make millions, but I invested properly. My father was, who was born and raised here in Bmore, graduate of Morgan State. My dad was a special man. He taught me about money. When everybody was going out and getting Cadillacs, I was buying property.
Wow. And this is back in the 80s.
Yeah. And so you got to be able to, you just can't be, Quicksilva. There's more to Quicksilva than just spinning.
Of course.
Yeah. You've got so many other things that you're involved with. And I learned at a very young age, you have to take advantage of every opportunity and spin it off into another opportunity.
Big facts.
So it wasn't a matter of I was rich because I never got to that point where I was making millions and millions, but on paper it looked like it, and so you can parlay that into a loan.
That is super dope,
to the
man.
next level.
Now, of course, from Bobby Jimmy, the world then knows Russ Parr. So Russ Parr, your radio career started in Dallas.
No, it started in LA.
In LA.
Actually, it started in a place called Los Banos, California.
Never heard of it.
Every Sunday, I'd go and drive through the cow pastures.
Gotcha.
And I had to screw two little wires together to turn on the radio station. This brother was named Mr. D. He just got tired of doing it all the time. And I'd come in on Sundays when he didn't want to do it. And after a while, it started doing more and more. And that was my first gig.
Gotcha.
And then I graduated from Merced College and went to Cal State Northridge, where I started working on the college radio station there.
Gotcha.
And then after I graduated, man, I just kind of popped out and started working for ABC TV, working on TV shows like Welcome Back Kotter, Fish.
When you say working on those TV shows, you were doing what?
I was a unit production manager, which was a glorified way of, he keeps tracks of all the materials that we use to build sets.
Gotcha.
Todd Bridges, all those guys I knew when they were kids. They used to send me up into rafters. You have on those on those TV sets, you can climb the scaffold. You'd be way up walking on catwalks, and no one could ever get Todd down. And he would only come down with me. And so these are like fond memories. Probably doesn't even remember me, but it doesn't matter. But that's where I got my bug for writing and directing, because I started off trying to be an actor.
I can see that though.
But I just don't have the capacity to remember everything. But I remember I got my first commercial. This sounds like Russ Parr talking about Russ Parr.
No, you're good.
I'm not comfortable doing that though.
That's okay.
Just give it real. I'm doing it with you.
I got you.
You're my boy.
Thank you.
But I remember when I got my first national commercial, I was the first Big Mac man on McDonald's.
You were the first Big Mac guy from the Big Mac commercial at McDonald's?
I'll show you later.
Give another round of applause, man. And this is why you're a legend, because you're just saying these things so loosely. Like, I was with the Big Mac, I was on tour with NWA, Dre, y'all know Dre, right? Because this is your real life.
Yeah.
This is your real life.
It's sometimes I look back at everything I've done, I'm like, God, I really did a whole lot of stuff.
You have, man.
But that McDonald's commercial, man, I kept getting checks in the mailbox. Because when it
Residual income.
when it goes national, and that's when I would start taking that and buying property.
Smart.
You know, and so, now I did buy a Cadillac.
It's okay.
It was baby blue. And I used to be a DJ at, you know, DJ clubs.
Hold on. Russ Parr was a DJ?
Yeah, but I did it differently. I had one of my favorite records on a cassette. And I did that. 8 tracks. And I would try to mix them.
Was your DJ? Was it DJ Russ Parr?
No, Dr. RDP. That was my name. And my guy Walter Smith and Ernestine and all my folks from Merced, California, my homeboy Snap, you know, we all used to go in and throw these little parties at Stephen Leonard Hall.
Wow.
And I would just, sometimes they hit and sometimes they didn't, man. But I started doing that, and my father, God bless his soul, I'd blow out speakers every week.
That's what speakers has fuses in the back.
Right.
A lot of people watching have no idea what that is, by the way.
I used to get big speakers like, oh, that's going to make a lot of noise. And the little ones was just killing them, you know. But my dad would always invest back into me, you know, to keep me, you know, out there doing it. And, you know, we charged $5 and heck, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was just fun, you know. But I could never match your skill level. No, and that's just not what I do.
This is about Russ Parr today.
Okay.
Now, of course, a lot of people who know you now know you from being on the radio in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And you were the morning show for how many years? Almost 30?
I was a morning show for 28 years.
Give that a round of applause.
Between Kiss and Magic.
Give that a round of applause. So
thank you.
Your introduction into D.C., you started at which station first?
I started at 93.9.
93.9. So
and then you came after me.
Right. We'll get to that. I got you.
All right.
So take me back to how'd you end up in DC?
I was working at KJMZ in Dallas. And I was going up against a formidable station, K104, with Tom Joyner.
Of course.
And, you know, we got to the point with the hard work and so on and so forth, we actually beat him one book. You know,
it's a big deal, though.
Oh, because he's a legend. And it gave me recognition. But I think the people that really, Mary Catherine Sneed, I'm not sure if you know who she is.
Of course.
Truly instrumental in me arising to where I am. Her and Steve Hegwood at the station in Atlanta. But those are the people, those are my top 2 radio people of all time.
Wow.
She just believed in everything I did, you know, and she kicked my ass when it was necessary. Hegwood, you know, Hegwood's a nut, but the best program director I've ever worked for.
That's what brought me to
creative, the most creative. You know, I've worked with a number of people, and I've got to experience the worst, but I also got to experience the best.
Shout out to Steve Hegwood, definitely one of my guys.
Yeah.
So you end up in DC by them bringing you to do the morning, and at first you weren't syndicated yet.
No, they brought me in to go against Donnie Simpson, who was another legend in DC. And
still is.
Yeah.
Shout out to OG.
Back then he ruled. And it was discouraging for the first year, you know, and then eventually I found one of the most talented, I don't even want to call her a female because I think it's a disservice. One of the most talented people I've ever worked with was Olivia Fox.
Russ Parr in the morning with Olivia Fox. I remember as a kid listening to y'all.
It was so interesting because they never wanted me to put her name on the show.
Really?
And I fought for a number of people throughout my
Well, for me, a lot. We'll get to that in a minute, too.
And I thought that she was such a major contributor to the show that it was important that her name be on the show. Because what they want to do is, in case they ever make changes, if you just have a name called like The Morning Show, and you can change parts in it.
You change people in it.
What I did is I handcuffed them, you know, that no, she's part of the show. Just the most talented person I've ever worked with, you know. But things run their course, you know, radio business. But at the end of the day, things transition new people come in, and go out, and so on and so forth. But sitting doing Kiss, I know they originally were going to bring somebody else in to do syndication.
You know who?
And
Or can you say?
it was Doug Banks. Doug Banks
Mm,
is,
I know. I know
God rest his soul,
I know Doug.
one of my good
Definitely.
friends in radio. But, and I told him, I said, man, I've been sitting here busting my tail for these guys, and they want to bring you in. I got to ask for it, bro. So I understand, Russ. It's okay. Russ Parr.
You sound like that. Rest in peace.
I miss that guy.
Yeah.
But what it was is that they syndicated us, and it blew up. It blew up for a minute, and everybody's like, oh, Russ, you should get bigger than this, and so on and so forth. But you hit a wall. You hit a wall as how far you could grow. In syndication, some people inherited stations. We just had to build from the ground up, and we did, and it worked. So when it was time, when Tom Joyner left radio, everybody thought it just Russ Parr is going to do. No, I had my window. My window was closed. It didn't make sense. It made more sense for a guy that had a bigger brand. Ricky Smiley was a good friend of mine, and everybody thought I was Russ really wanted that. Actually, I had my turn.
So you didn't feel some type of way about that?
No.
Really?
Although people think, oh, he's not. No, I didn't feel any kind of way about it at all. I knew we had our day in the sun. And as someone that was a shareholder in the company, I'm going to go with the younger dude with a bigger name.
Makes sense.
Whether you want it, just makes economic sense. So, people can say, and one thing I think you know me very well, I don't lie about shit.
You don't? And you don't bite your tongue.
No,
you don't give a fuck who gets
I'll
mad
keep it
about
real. I mean, we've had some conversations, and I know you were pissed, but you respected me. You didn't come at me. You should have. You should have.
No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because I always look at you as the OG.
Yeah,
even if we didn't see eye to eye on something, I couldn't deny that you were somebody I looked up to.
But I don't like to hurt people. I think sometimes when I do hurt people, they misinterpret it because I'm thinking I'm helping. I want to help people. And when I hear things that, Russ is this and Russ is that and so on and so forth, it used to bother me. But as you get older, you go, I did what I could for you.
Facts.
And I can't do any more. But you can crap on me because you felt I should have done more. I'm like, fuck it. I don't feel like I did what I could, and God sees it.
Makes all the sense. If you just tuned in, by the way, we're talking to the legendary Russ Parr. And just to kind of piggyback just for a second, because I never knew what happened. You and Olivia were on Killing, and then one day Olivia's off the air. Like, what happened with that, with Olivia?
Contract negotiations.
So money.
It's that, and I took years later, and the truth is I took a lot of heat because, I'm a strong proponent of women in the business. I've done everything I could to make sure they had a seat at the table.
Yes.
But, I don't know how she feels about it because we just really don't communicate anymore. But I took a lot of heat for other people's decisions, but I couldn't say anything. And those people know because they threw rocks, hit their hand. We'll let Russ Parr eat this.
That sounds about radio.
Yeah. And so when that crap was going on, I did what I could. But people, she's a grown woman, and she went on to do some really great things,
She did.
on the radio. So
it wasn't definitely a legend.
It wasn't. Sometimes you just don't want to have your fate be at the hands of somebody else. Everybody that worked on that show had to rely on me. One of our best producers, Ted Carter, he went back to college because his dad said, man, you want to sit here and make this a little bit of money, hoping that Russ keeps his job. And now he's a big corporate executive You know, it's just like, just want to give you that door to open.
And what you do with it once you're in the door is on you.
Right.
But unfortunately, like you kind of said, people, you can give a person an opportunity, but when things don't work out how they think they should, you're always the bad guy.
I think,
Always the bad guy.
I think if somebody that was a janitor at at the radio station got fired, you know, Russ Parr got him out of here.
It's funny because all the the stuff people say about you end up saying about me. Right. So it's like Quick and Russ.
So you get
that fucking Quick,
he's
got him fired.
Yeah, that's the lady answering the phones. Russ fucked her over.
Exactly.
You know, but at the end of the day, those folks are going to have their truth, what they believe, what's going on, and it's amazing because some people really don't know. And I'm in those back rooms. I know what those motherfuckers are doing.
Yeah, that's a big fact.
And there's only so much you can do to fight for people. There's only so much, when they make up their minds.
Facts.
So
it is what it is.
I do what I do.
We can move on. Another thing that you got really, really popular for was the Russ Bus Tour, or the Wrong Songs Tour. Like, what was the exact name of the tour?
Russ Bus Tour.
So it was Russ Bus Tour. And you might not remember this. So this is how I met Russ Parr. So mind you, I'm a kid. I'm listening to Russ Parr growing up as a kid in my car, headed to school with my dad. And at the time, I was touring with Lil Mo. I was Lil Mo's DJ. And Lil Mo came out for one of the shows for the Russ Bus Tour.
Right.
So, of course, I come out and I DJ, and I couldn't say anything because I was trying to be cool, but I was so starstruck. I'm like, oh shit.
Hilarious.
That's Russ Parr. So we met in passing, we speak, whatever. But then fast forward, I come to KYS and I really meet Russ Parr. So now I'm in the building with Russ Parr daily. Right. And I end up DJing on Russ Parr's show.
Yeah.
A lot of people might not remember because at one point you were alternating DJs.
Yeah.
Shout out to 6 Sense. I know he was a regular there.
Yeah.
But then you had other DJs you were alternating. And then at the time, I believe I was doing the night show.
Right.
Me and Angie, who always brags about how Russ Parr is her OG mentor as well. Shout out to Angie. That's my sis. Yeah. I love Angie. Yeah. Still talk to her daily.
Yeah.
But then as I'm doing the night show, Jay Stevens actually has an idea. He was like, Quick, you're popping in all the clubs, you're popping on social media. We want to get some consistency with Russ Parr's show to hire just somebody. Right. So my first time I was like, nah, man, Russ is not going to bring me. Why would Russ bring me on the show? Like, he has other DJs. How did that call come to you?
I'll tell you how it went. I was defiant at first because I'm a loyalist. 6 Sense has always been with me.
Absolutely.
And I know it hurt him. It hurt him. But I explained to him it's for the better of my show at that time because you were blowing up. And, and I hated that I hurt him. But it was a management decision.
I know.
And I didn't fight hard against it because I knew that they made up your mind, and I knew how good you were too.
Thank you.
6 was good, but you were out there branding and all that stuff, and that could only help me.
Gotcha.
And but I tried to keep 6 in the fold for a lot of other things and so on and so forth. But that's the nature of the business. Sometimes they force you to make a decision that. Ultimately, it was a great decision.
Thank you.
But I fight for my people.
Yeah. What was your first impression of me when I first joined your show? You can be honest. You're not gonna piss me off.
You want to be honest?
No, I want real. Let's shake the table for me.
Because people will tell you, 6 is this and that, and blah blah blah.
Quick.
Quick. My bad. And you were always professional, on time. You didn't miss, and I'm sure you do that to this day. You're consistent.
Thank you.
My only concern with you, I think we had a conversation about it, is you're very passionate, and sometimes your passion intimidated people. And I don't know if I said it to you like that then. I probably said it very shitty. to you.
I can tell.
But
I'm gonna tell you what.
I can't remember exactly how I said it, but I said, you know, if you want these people to have your back, you can't treat them a certain way. And I wasn't there to witness you treating anybody
Right.
in different. It's just what you heard.
Right. It was the hearsay.
Yeah.
Quick's hard to work with. He has an ego.
Right. And that's when I thought, okay, as a big brother, let me go in and say, hey, you ain't gonna get anywhere doing that, because I never believed in burning bridges.
Yeah.
And because we can get into radio the last couple of years for me and why I wouldn't burn bridges, but we'll get to that. But that's how I kind of came at you. And after I did it, I didn't feel good about it.
Why?
Because it was hearsay.
Yeah.
Because you can talk to two people and say he's an asshole, but there's 98 other people that love you.
Facts.
And I listened to a couple of people that said you're a dick.
And some of the people worked with
you
at the time.
He's more of an asshole than a dick. So
I love it.
I don't know if there's a difference, but
right.
That's what I remember. I don't remember exactly what I said.
But I think what it was, you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said it was for the people who had an opinion about me. First and foremost, I've never did anything or said anything. It was back to them being loyal to someone,
right,
and feeling like we have to throw shade on this guy's name,
right,
to make Russ not like him. Because Russ doesn't like him. Russ has the power to make sure he doesn't get on the show. I remember an incident, and I don't know if you remember this. And like I say, this is the WhoIs podcast. We're very open and honest.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I remember when I first started on your show, I was playing at Ibiza at the time. Ibiza nightclub on Fridays was the top dog at one point in DC. And you came to host with me. And a lot of people who know me, you know, always say I'm not just a DJ, I'm a performer. So I rock my own mic, I do my own thing. I don't need an open DJ. Like I'm a one-man show when I perform.
Right.
But Russ Parr was there as the radio host for the company. So, you know, you come and you talk on the mic a little bit, but then I would talk on the mic. And you know, I'll say it now. Like I said, it's all love. It's spoiled milk. I remember like it was yesterday. And let's see how honest you're gonna be, Russ. Shout out to Super Kid.
Right.
Super Kid, that's my guy. Super Kid with the sports. Good guy. But Super Kid must have felt some type of way that Quick. I don't know if he thought I was talking over you at the club or something. But I remember him coming to you like, yo, what's up? Like, do I need to check him for you? I don't know if you remember this. He was, and I'm like,
I'm thinking about it. I'm starting to remember it now.
So I'm like, where's this even coming from? So I feel like a lot of the energy when I first came to this show, because people were loyal to Six and loyal to you, they were looking for a reason not to like Quick.
Right.
They were looking for a reason not to like Quick.
But I have to tell you, I do remember that. And here's something that you probably don't know about me. I'm not comfortable in clubs and hyping on the mic. And that's what I told him. And he's doing me a fucking favor because I'm getting ready to get my motherfucking check.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't feel that way. I don't know if he said, well, Russ is upset. No, because I didn't give a fuck. And that's one of the things that, you know, my crew often did not like about me. They felt I should have fought more. But I pick and choose my battles. Yeah. And I never felt that way. Now, if he told you that, I said, and Soup and I are...
That's my guy. So it's like there's no beef at all.
But if he told you that I was upset, then that would not have been accurate.
I don't know if it was him or somebody in the career said something like, you know, Russ felt some type of way that you were like not letting them talk, and
that's a problem because a lot of times when people in meetings like, well, Russ Parr said, I didn't say shit.
This how you feel.
What the fuck you talking about? You know, and you're trying to put me to give your argument a little bit more credibility.
Right.
I've done. It's happened throughout my entire career. I get credited for shit I never said because somebody else is trying to make the point.
Blame it.
And I honestly remember that, and that's not why I'm like. I think I probably told him I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Let the motherfucker talk. I'm ready to go.
Fact.
I want to go home. I want to see my kids.
Facts. But I'm glad that didn't cause any friction.
Oh, not at all.
Show.
Not at all.
We still went on and made some magical moments.
Absolutely.
That's when social media really got popping. So
yeah.
I would go live every morning, and people, and we can say it now. People thought that I was actually live in the studio with you because I would, of course, make my mixes, send them to you.
Right.
But I would wake up every morning when the mix started and start tweeting, start posting like I'm there.
Nobody brands like you, man.
Like I'm there, man.
Nobody does that.
But then fast forward, I never saw this coming. So remind you, I'm doing Night Show with Angie Ange.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm doing, of course, mixing on the Russ Parr Morning Show. After 2.5 years of me and Angie being on a Night Show, I ended up walking away from full time.
Right.
I just had my son. I started touring more, traveling. So I just didn't have time to be at the radio station daily. So I still would do your show, and I still would do mixes on 93.9. So at one point, I'm not even full time anymore.
Right.
I'm just DJing on Russ Parr's show, and I'm DJing on the Night Show on 93.9.
Right.
And I get a call, Jay Stevens again.
Mm-hmm.
That we want to bring you back to radio quick. And I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, but no, listen to them. We want you to take over the morning show.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thing was like, no, and no. I'm not a morning guy. I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And apps, y'all want to set me up for fade? Y'all want me, who's never done morning radio in my life, to, I don't use the word replace, but Russ Parr is going to move over to Magic, and y'all want me to take Russ Parr's slot? How did that conversation go to? Like, did you know about this before I knew?
Yeah. Magic needed help, and Tom Joyner. The battle was with Tom Joyner. They wanted to move him off that station, and Tom was not having it. I think ultimately, when they made those changes, they didn't do it right. They should have had me embrace you more. But I'm sitting up there going, well, Tom Joyner shouldn't embrace me, but Tom wasn't down for that. Wasn't doing that. They should have had me constantly on Kiss, telling everybody this is my guy. Do that. They didn't do that.
They just threw me on the morning show.
But I just thought, well, maybe Quick and them don't want me to do that.
Hell no.
Because my crew got mad because they heard a promo one day with you and Mo talking about, the mornings will never be the same, and now we have some new, young, fresh, like we some old niggas. And,
I remember that.
But I said, why I would do the same thing, guys. And that's one thing with my crew. They always get pissed. Well, why aren't you pissed? Because just because you're pissed, I got to be pissed?
Yes, Russ.
I don't give a fuck. I knew I had my work cut out to go to Magic and do that. I'm 40-something years old, or whatever my age was then. I mean, I've outgrown the format.
Right.
So I did not have a problem moving to Magic. They just didn't tell me that Tom had a problem with it. And I love Tom Joyner. I respect that brother. He opened the doors for a lot of us, especially me. And, I thought he was for it. And then when they made changes, I found out he wasn't. And the listeners did not dig that shit. So I started from the bottom. I
was very nervous to take over the morning show.
It wasn't fair to a guy that's been on in the market for like 20 some odd years on the station and throw you in.
They set me up for failure.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, and they did not promote you properly. I've told you that.
Now it crossed my leg. You always talk shit. No,
and no disrespect to them because they just didn't really have the resources. To be honest with you, Jay Stevens is a brilliant programmer, but he has to let other people do their job. And a lot of people in those positions just weren't gifted. They just didn't have the skill level to understand how to brand. You out here, trying to do print media when y'all should be doing social media
and TV media and every other media.
But they didn't do any of that, and so it was And people liked your show.
Yeah, right,
Don't get me
right.
wrong. But it's tough when,
You were a staple. You were the
in
heritage.
DC, people are a creature
Right.
of habit.
After 30 years, almost 30 years, you want to just take Russ off and put the guy who's DJing on the show, not even one of the people that are on the show.
I knew
the DJ.
I knew it was getting ready to happen to you because it was happening to me. Yeah. Me and you were basically going through the same shit.
Yeah. So luckily, me and Mo, we had a good run. Ratings were decent, but once again, I'm coming on after a Russ Parr.
Yeah, but listen, I don't have. Your show was compelling, had energy. You guys did nothing wrong. Right. You just didn't get marketed.
Marketing promotion works. But one thing, and just kind of staying on the Russ Parr morning show for a minute. What I love most about the Russ Parr morning show were your characters. Yeah. Your bits.
Right.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. They're still asking for that shit.
Mickey Mouse is hilarious. Mr. I'm not gay.
Right.
I might be gay friendly. Yeah. But I'm not gay.
Right. I forget it, because when I was coming back to radio, everybody was sending all these bits that we used to do. And I'm like, I did that. I forgot.
What was the other one? What was the other popular one? Mickey Mouse was one. What was the other? You had a really popular one besides Mickey Mouse.
Oh, there's so many of them that was so good. Big and Benny, that Libby Fox used to do, it was one of my favorite characters. Yes. But there were so many. Guy telling him, have you seen Little Tevin Campbell?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I was saying. But that's what I meant to say. But there's so many characters, man. And the thing is, I do spontaneous radio. None of that shit is planned. I said, we're going to do this character. That's as far as the planning went.
Then your horoscopes?
Those I write, but the comments to them are all improv.
Gotcha.
That's what makes it work. Because, a lot of days, nowadays, a lot of people script their shows. And there are some people that are good at reading scripts, and there are some people that aren't. But I want when people tune in to know, I don't know what the fuck they're getting ready to do. And the reason that is because we don't know what the fuck we're getting ready to do.
Facts.
Just let it come. And that was a God-given blessing.
So then after 28 years, Russ Parr goes from KYS to Magic.
It was actually more like 10 years. 20 years.
20 years.
But that's still a lot.
It's long.
It's 2 decades.
But you were 28 years total.
Yeah. On with Radio 1.
With Radio 1. But then after going from KYS to Magic, I turned on the radio one day and Russ Parr is not on the radio.
Right. It was economics. It was.
What the hell?
Between me and Donnie Simpson, they were paying a lot of money. And, they couldn't sustain it. Black radio, especially with this administration, has been attacked.
Yes.
And they're telling all these businesses, you don't need black dollars. They're just trying to destroy the infrastructure of black radio. And so I get it that, they needed to save money, and the decision was made, take Donnie Simpson and Russ off. And I knew years before it was coming.
Gotcha.
Because I was asked to remove people from my show, and I said, I will not. And I understand the consequences. And
wow.
And then I went in and told everybody, we got another year. Get yourself together.
Right.
Because that's a loyalty thing for me. I didn't think that was the answer. The answer is just get rid of everybody. How about you do some marketing? How about you do this and that? But they just didn't have the infrastructure to do it. Gotcha. I love the company. I love Alfred Liggins. I love Miss H.
Those are my I call them Mom H. That's my baby.
Yeah, but you delegate to people that may not know what they're doing. And I'm not going to say any names, but they know who they are.
Gotcha. Yeah. But then, after Russ Parr goes off the air, I see your post. Russ Parr's coming back to the air. What made you come back to radio?
Did not want to do it.
Why didn't you want to do it?
Because I love playing golf. It was the first time in my life. I've been working since I was 7 years old. I had a paper route. I used to wash dishes in a nightclub, in the back room, 3 o'clock in the morning, falling asleep on top pots and pans, peeling potatoes. I've done a lot of hard work in my life. And I kind of instilled that in my children also, because they understand what hard work is. And when I stopped working quick, and you're going to experience this one day.
Hopefully soon.
It's like the phone stops ringing and you don't have to think. It's a beautiful thing. But one of the main things was I became a caretaker for my father,
Yes.
who was dying.
Take your time. You good. Take your time.
I'm clearly not over it.
Absolutely take your time, Russ. Take your time.
And it's tough going on the air every morning and your heart is broken. My heart was broken. And although the listeners never knew that there was an issue, because everybody goes through this. Everybody at some point, they had to take care of a loved one. I'm not special. But when they came to me and said, we're gonna make a change and save money, and and I was like, I didn't fight. I didn't fight for it. Because normally you fight for shit you love. I didn't fight. And my father was still alive at the time, but that's rough. And I felt honored that I was able to take care of that man, Baltimore man. He called it Baltimore. Baltimore. That's all the way you pronounce it in the city. But I didn't fight. They approached me a couple of times. Just keep it real. Yeah. And I was like, I wasn't ready. This last time, I realized that I said, I'll do it for a year. And
I didn't mean to cut you off. Did your dad pass while you were already off the air, or this is why you were on the air?
He passed. And when things like that go on, you forget the timelines. So I think he passed while I think I was still on the air. But I remember I was still doing my movies and this and that, so I'd had to leave set, and I couldn't even focus on that. So I think I'm right, but
Right.
but the bottom line is that when that was the most important thing to me, because a lot of times people will try to break you.
Yes.
But they don't realize that I've already been anointed. I've received my blessing.
Amen.
So while you're trying to break me, you're making me. I was listening to Marvin Sapp the other day, and you're sitting at that table, and your homies and your good friends are not sitting at the table. Your enemies are. Your enemies are sitting there, but they can't do shit to you because you've already been blessed.
Amen.
You cannot receive blessings unless you have your enemies there. They bring it about.
It's a fact,
they bring it about. But it was a great move. I played golf. My dad, such an independent guy, he wanted to stay in a place where he could feel like it was his. And the golf course I go to all the time, where he lived in his dying days, was great. So every time I go down the 10th hole, I talk with him. And he was so proud of me. And you know me, I'm not a guy that always wants a pat on the back. I was uncomfortable when he said, "Hey, you know who he is? Dad, stop." And now I feel bad that I didn't honor how proud he was of me.
I know for a fact that not only was he proud, he's still proud today.
Yeah, I don't.
And I know it sounds cliche.
No, but I
he's
appreciate
very
that
proud of
quick
you,
because
man.
I don't think that it'd be naive for us to think that because their presence isn't on this earth that they no longer exist.
Facts.
Because I get notes all the time from him and my sister and my mom, and I understand there's a reason for why I needed to. A lot of time I stayed longer at Magic for my crew.
Yeah.
Because I realized that they depended upon me.
Right. When Russ goes, the whole entire show goes.
Yes. So I stayed probably a little longer than I wanted to. I think the last contract I knew I shouldn't have signed it. I should have left because my father needed me, but he was just such a proud dude. He would never He'd never say, hey, leave your job and take care of me.
Yeah.
That's not him.
I just want to say once again, man, rest in peace to your dad. And you know,
Thank you.
as a person who's lost my mom and my dad, people don't realize that no matter how young, how old you are, you never get over it. What happens is
Changes you.
It changes you completely, but eventually you learn to live with it.
Yes.
If that makes sense. So
yes.
Because
I know your parents are proud of you.
My prayer for you though is that I don't know what space you're in mentally right now. But
I'm in a much better place now. And that's the reason why I'm not coming back for the money, because I'm making 1/10 of what I was being paid before.
So it's you really love it.
It wasn't about the money.
Gotcha.
It was also about, I don't know if I can help them. I don't know. So much damage was done to that radio station. And I'm not sure that I can help, but I will try.
If somebody can, Russ Parr can.
Well, we'll see. But it was more of, I love Alfred Liggins.
I love Ms. H.
And I really, I think he needed me.
I'm excited to hear.
I'm gonna give it.
Are you bringing the whole crew back, or is it just
no?
Just
we
you?
Can't even afford to do that. But it's gonna be Tanisha Nicole and Albert. Somebody tripping.
Somebody tripping.
Yeah.
The Jekyll.
yeah. Somebody tripping.
That's my guy.
But I think for the most part, I mean, some of the folks that were on the show will make contributions and things like that. But I can't ask people to work for free.
Understood.
Because I am pretty much working for free.
Jeez, man.
But it's just for me. It's my grandson lives right down the street. It's great. I can get off the air and I don't have to wake up 4 in the morning and go see my grandson.
Just throw it in my face, Russ.
Yeah.
I hate this 4:30 shit.
But that day, you get used to it, unfortunately.
I'm
but
still not
for
used
you
to it.
to leave a club at 2:30 in the morning and then go to work.
Come on, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, how about good night? Go to bed.
Yeah, no, but it's respect. It's respect. And, it's hard not to appreciate DJ Quicksilva. It really is, and no one can say anything bad about you to me.
Well, they say it. They say it.
Well, they will, but I'm not going to sit there and let them do it.
I appreciate it.
No, seriously.
I appreciate it. And what I will say, I'll say this publicly. I love that Russ Parr not only has become a friend of mine, Russ Parr fights for Quicksilva. And we don't have to go into detail for whatever reason, but there have been situations with me in radio and that Russ Parr was going to bat and I didn't ask.
Yeah.
I never asked you, but because you see something in me or you believe something in me, and it's been times, I'll be honest, Russ Parr has talked me off the ledge because it's been times like, fuck this, man. And Russ like, quick, and come on, listen, shut up, shut the fuck up, keep doing it. Why not? Quick, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But that's what an OG is. An OG is a person that can check you when you're wrong, but fight for you when they know you're right.
Yeah.
Even though other people might not see it or agree.
Right.
Russ Parr be like, nah, Quick is it.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Russ. A lot of times, I just think you're really gifted and talented. And, I know what, not just this company, a lot of companies, man, just don't sometimes make the wrong decisions. And they make you feel like I'm not a major contributor to the success of this company. And, this kind of stuff that, they were putting you through. I think even when you were off the radio, I was saying he needs to be on.
Right.
It's like, sometimes it's just in their face and they just don't realize what they have unless somebody can point it out to them. Not only if you do it for a lot of people, but I mean, you're my guy.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to do that.
Thank you, Russ Parr. I really appreciate that. Another thing we haven't even touched on yet, because it's so much that Russ Parr has been a part of and done, is your movie side. Russ Parr is also not just a funny guy and radio guy and business guy we know now that's in real estate and other things. Russ Parr is a guy who writes, directs, stars in Russ Parr films. Tell us about this. How did that even come about?
Well, it's interesting because I remember I wrote a feature film called The Last Stand.
I remember watching that movie.
And it was chronicling Guy Torry played me. what you probably don't know is back in the day in LA, I used to try to do stand-up comedy. I used to go to the Comedy Store and get your feelings hurt. But the story was based around a struggling comic. And I had that script sitting in my office for years. And one day I was cleaning out my office and Alfreda's was over. And I was getting ready to throw away the script. And I just threw it, hey, go home and read that. She called me 2 hours later, you have to do this movie. And you need to pay for it. Stop counting on other people to do it. So I did it. And the movie did pretty well. I got pretty much all my money back.
Good.
Didn't really make a profit. But I have been writing for years, directing my own videos, Bobby Jimmy videos. So I had that bug because I have a degree in film.
Nice.
But, you know, you can have a degree in singing. If you can't sing, it don't mean shit.
Don't mean shit, right? Facts.
But once I did that movie, it just kind of springboarded, you know, The Under Shepherd with Isaiah Washington. That was an inspired by God written script.
Gotcha.
Because I can't quote the Bible at all. But when I started typing that script, because I type and it's kind of like I'm watching a movie while I'm doing it. And then I'll go back after I'm done. Like I've whipped out 100 pages in like 4 days.
Wow.
Okay. And I write fast because because a lot of writers keep going over their stuff and they're changing it. I go with my first instinct. I trust that.
Good.
So I'm reading this script and there's scripture and stuff I didn't look up. Where did this come from? That was the day, Quick, when I realized this ain't me. It's God. That was the day that I stopped taking credit for my crap. And even when I do something foul, hey, I got to give God some credit for it.
Right.
But that was the day after I wrote that script. And if you haven't seen The Under Shepherd, you got to watch it. It was,
you got some dope movies out, man.
Yeah, there was so many different people who were supposed to play certain parts, but God puts those puzzles together and makes it happen. And then started doing, you know, a lot of The Last Stand had Kevin Hart in it before he really kind of blew up. And I had him in 35 and Ticking and Something Like a Business. He hated Something Like a Business. Every time
These are all movies, by the way, produced and written by Russ Parr, ladies and gentlemen.
And I directed them. But,
and directed, yeah.
But he hated Something Like a Business. But that's one of the biggest movies on Tubi right now.
Facts.
And it was a stupid movie. I mean, I wrote a movie and we finished it already, for Little Duval. It's called Camp Duval. Nobody's dying here today. It's a horror comedy.
It's like I seen him teasing that on social media or something.
Yeah, he's a marketer too.
He is.
I got love for marketers, man. And that should be coming out in a couple of months.
Dope.
But it was a goofy movie, and you know, I'm getting back to my roots of taking a smaller budget because I love the challenge. Taking a smaller budget and making something beautiful with it.
Dope.
You know.
So you're still actively making movies now?
Oh yeah, because when I was not doing radio, that's, you know, when you're creative like you have to constantly tap that resource.
You know, do something with it.
So I continue writing. My guy with Slow Films, Eric Thomas-Sunis, he was like, hey, I got an idea for a movie. He knows I'm gonna whip it out in 5 days. You know. And then I put my penis back and no, just
yo.
had to go for the joke.
I love Russ Parr. I love him.
But
no pause needed, by the way. You ain't got to pause Russ Parr.
But that movie, and I just finished writing another one. It's kind of like a sequel to that with Duval, because it just the movie's funny, but it's you know, I have a goofy side, but I can be serious in some of my scripts. And I've got some serious ones.
Speaking of serious, I saw a side of Russ Parr that I didn't know exists, because when I think of Russ Parr, I think of the guy who's just always funny, energetic. But then all of a sudden, I'm on social media because I'm on there all day, and I see this guy talking about Russ's rants.
Yeah.
And it's mostly about politics and stuff. So I'm being honest, like when you first started, I'm like, I didn't even know Russ was drenched in politics. I had no idea, because the Russ Parr I know is the funny guy.
Right.
What made you start Russ's rants? And
Donald Trump.
And it went from being online to on your show.
Yeah, Donald Trump. Just the horrible things. A lot of black folks talking about, yeah, I'm MAGA and this and that. Do you realize that everything they stand for is against your total being.
Facts.
There's like that. I saw a figure 180,000 black women have lost their jobs because he went after it and started labeling everybody
DEI.
DEI, and Charlie Kirk, all these guys talking about, when I get on a plane, I want to make sure the pilot's not black. Well, he wouldn't have got on that last shuttle as a black pilot that, took his run. But I felt that, you got the Roland Martins and D.L. Hughley's. These guys are just brilliant. I wanted to break it down for my audience from my level, and I'm not always right, but somebody needed to speak up, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna continue to do that, just not as often. I don't want to inundate the show with a lot of politics because it is so bad right now.
It is. I hate it.
I want people to smile and laugh again.
Do you feel like Russ's rants on the radio hurt your show?
Yes, absolutely. Not just the rants. During the period of Trump's first administration, I was teeing off on this motherfucker
every day.
And it was too much.
Yeah.
And I was so caught up, I wasn't really listening to other people like, hey, man, we probably need to slow down.
Because you're so known for being I turned to Russ to laugh.
Right.
And now I turn to Russ, and he's literally ranting on the radio.
Because it was just devastating. This second administration is worse than the first time. And I just had to stop watching the news.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. I just stopped watching because, these motherfuckers are talking about, we won the war. We lost the war when one American died and 150 Iranian kids were killed. People keep forgetting about people died for this bullshit, so we don't talk about Epstein. That's my opinion, but that's what's going down.
Hey,
but you've got to be. I'm gonna be more measured and balanced because I know people want to laugh.
Definitely.
But you hit it on the head. It's like when I finally did ask, hey, am I doing too much politics? Oh no, because the other people were saying, yeah, this is great. They're into it too.
Right.
But not all of your audience. You got to read the room.
Got to read the room. We can talk for so many more hours about all the things. I
appreciate it,
no, but one last question I want to ask it, because I always end with this question, but I've been thinking as I'm listening to you talk, how do I ask this? We always talk about the Mount Rushmore. So a lot of times when DJs are on, a radio personalized on, I ask them their personal Mount Rushmore. I'm going to stay radio with Russ Parr. If I had to ask Russ Parr the Mount Rushmore of on-air personalities who have the biggest impact on DC radio, who would you say the top 4 jocks, so not DJs, on-air personalities who had their own shows, whatever, who really made a mark and an impact in the DC market? Who would you say the Mount Rushmore top 4?
Top 4? I would say Tom Joyner, Melvin Lindsay, who was the first guy with the Quiet Storm. I would also say a Quick and Angie show. Seriously.
You don't have to, by the way.
No, I know, but no, because you guys really tapped into DC. And I would say my show. I think that those would be the 4. I'm sure there's other people that need to be noted. But because of the longevity I've been there, I don't like to brag on myself. I don't like to, jerk myself off. But
this is not the humble podcast. You can if you want, because it's not bragging. We're speaking facts.
That's not who I am. But you just want to talk about it. If I didn't say my name, the other names wouldn't be.
I would take off Quick and Angie and replace it with Donnie.
Oh my God. I would put Donnie before me. Are you serious? No, let me just say something about Donnie Simpson.
Yeah.
Donnie Simpson, and I say this, and I told him this before, he's a great broadcaster. He's a greater man. I remember one time I had a little medical situation, and I called him and I said, man, I'm headed to the hospital. I was in there about 30 minutes. He walks in. And he sat there. I said, right, man, I'm better now. And he said, I'm not leaving until you leave. That man said, I'll never forget that. He sat there with me. and it shows the character of a brother, because he didn't have to do that. That's who he is.
That's who Donnie is. Donnie is.
So I take that back. I take me off and put
No.
put Donnie on.
I'm going Russ, Donnie. Like y'all two have to be on
forgive me, Donnie. You should have been. Actually, you're number one. To be honest with you, Tom Joyner. No, seriously. No, I'm glad you said that, because
the comment section would have lit you up. By the way, I was trying to save you.
It was so obvious, Donnie Simpson, but my mind wasn't going there. It'd be Donnie. It'd be Tom. I think you guys, and then us.
Definitely, man. Like. I give you all the credit in the world, but like I say, the Russ Parrs and the Donnie Simpsons of the world, y'all are two people. You kind of mentored me when I first took over in the morning, because you would give me honest feedback. Some of it I didn't want to hear, but you were like, quick, nah, that was whack. Don't do that. But because it's Russ,
don't be the weakest link on your show.
Right.
That wasn't right.
You did.
That one I felt bad about.
You told me that.
Yeah, that one I felt bad about.
Don't feel bad, but it made me step up.
I was trying to kick you in your ass.
It made me step up.
Yes, and you did.
It made me step up.
Now, I'm not taking credit for you stepping up, but you did.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cruel.
No, it wasn't cruel.
It was.
Well, I wasn't offended, by the way. It made me realize, step your shit up.
I thought you hated me after I said that. I couldn't. When I hung up the phone, I'm like, why did I say that to that man?
I appreciate it. But your feedback. It's so funny, because your feedback and Donnie Simpson's feedback were completely night and day. So your feedback is, don't be the weakest link, step your shit up. You sound phony, you sound tired, you sound like you just left the club quick, wake the fuck up. You sound asleep on the radio quick.
Shit.
You don't sound like the Quick that we all know and love. You sound like tired quick. This is what Russ Parr told me, by the way, guys.
My bad.
Right. And he said it way more harsh than that. This is a nice way of saying it.
It was mean.
So then I called Donnie, trying to get some, let me see if Donnie gives me feedback. Right. So this is after maybe a month or two in the air. So I called Donnie. I say, Donnie Simpson, I just need some feedback. You're OG, more than you guy. You know what Donnie's answer was? Very Donnie Simpson on brain. He said, hey, Quick, just do your thing. I said, what does that mean? He said, whatever your thing is, just do it.
Donnie.
I said, Donnie, thanks, but I don't know what the fuck that means.
It doesn't get any better than a Donnie Simpson, man. And I'm glad that, and that's one thing about us that have been in the business for a long time. Mm-hmm. We love it when y'all call us. Yeah. We love it. Mm-hmm. I think back then I was a little harsh because I had higher expectations.
But don't look at harsh. Don't look at harsh. I think that's the problem with this generation. Mm-hmm. We're too soft.
Yeah.
We're offended by everything. It's the cancel culture. Don't say it that way, Russ. You need to pretty it up for Quick. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
If I sound like shit on the air, Russ Parr, say that.
Yeah.
Because how am I going to get better?
Yeah.
If I'm not getting real feedback, not the smoke and mirror and the gas of your friends and family and the people that want to, benefit off your job.
Right.
Tell me, you make people better by really giving them honest feedback. Yeah. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. And just if I can give you your flowers right now, I would say thank you, not just for what you've done for my life and my career, but what you mean to the culture. And when I say the culture, not just radio. Russ Parr has become and still is a staple in the community. Russ Parr is a voice for the people who never have had a voice. You have been somebody who has helped so many other people, giving them a chance and kind of became their stepping stone for them to become greater, even though they probably will never give you the credit for it. A lot of people in the position there are in today because Russ Parr threw that Isle of Branch first.
Right.
So I want to say to you,
thank you, man.
When I first started it, I said, you're a legend. I mean that.
I know you.
Like you're Russ Parr. I don't know if you really know, because you're such a humble guy. Even though you be funny and trying that joke, I think sometimes you're too humble, because when you're too humble, people will make you feel like you're not who you are.
Yeah.
And you're Russ fucking Parr.
I just don't want people to think that I think I'm better than them.
But it's not about being better. But guess what? You're the best you. Like I will say, Quicksilva is the best version of me. Nobody can out Quicksilva me.
That's good.
But nobody can out Russ Parr.
Yeah.
But Russ Parr has never put his chest out and said that.
Right. You're right.
Today is the day I want you to say, Russ Parr, you are one of one. You're him. As the kids say, Russ Parr is him.
I've been crying a lot lately, man. So that means a lot to me. You got me. But hard for me to say. I just have to prove it. You know,
I love you, Russ.
I love you too, baby.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man. Ladies and gentlemen, anything you want to plug? You know, of course, he's back on the air on Magic.
Magic
102.3.
3 to 7. I think you can go to mymagicdc.com if you want to stream it. And movie coming out in a couple with Lil Duval, who is an incredible little actor, man. Gotcha. I shouldn't say little actor, but he's Lil Duval. I keep saying it, but he's incredible little actor, and a lot of people will be surprised because it's fun. But that's what's happening. So it's going to be starting on the
today.
Yeah, today. I'll be on the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So welcome back to radio. Keep doing your movies. Keep doing everything else. Keep being an amazing dad. You know, it's so funny, and I know we got to wrap it, but like, you know, it's funny because, you know, I look at Russ Parr as such the GOAT, and this is when I felt old because, you know, I've known you and I've known your kids since they were kids. And then one day I wake up and Russ Parr's daughter is partying with me at the park. I'm like,
isn't that crazy?
When did this happen?
Right.
I'm like, when'd you get grown? When'd you turn 21? What do you mean you're in the club having a drink partying with me? His daughter, by the way.
Yeah. Well, one last thing I do want to say
go ahead.
Is that I would not, and I know this is going to sound so cliche, I would not be able to do or get to where I am if it wasn't for my wife, Darnell Parr.
I love her.
This is the strongest woman I know. She's an opposite of me where, you know, when something's bugging me, she can just basically say, she didn't say it like this, but basically she's saying, well, fuck that. Fuck 'em. You know, and she can always reel me in. She has been my inspiration for writing, directing. She's my world.
I love that.
I don't know what I would do without her, but she keeps me so grounded, man. So Darnell, I love you.
Oh, we can end it like that. Shout out to your wife, shout out to your kids, shout out to your family, to the Parr family as a whole, man. On behalf of the Who Is podcast, I am honored to have this conversation.
I love what you're doing with your son.
Thank you, man. DJ Softstars, he's on fire.
The ropes, man.
He's on fire, man.
Yes.
But once again, Russ Parr, thank you for joining us today. This has been a humbling moment for me because, you know, when you grow up listening to somebody and you idolize somebody, but then you become friends with the person that you idolize. And then that same person gets to a point where they're giving you kudos for things you're doing. Like, that's still weird for me, for Russ. But even before he came on the podcast, he would hit me like, nigga, you're killing with the pod. You're killing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, Russ Parr watches my podcast. I wouldn't even think that.
No, you do.
Because you're Russ Parr to me.
No, man, you're doing some really, really good things.
Thank you,
man. The way you're communicating, I can stroke you all day, but
don't stroke me.
Not everybody. Not without gloves. Everybody can't do what you do.
No, thank you, man.
And you recognize that, and I don't want this to turn into a stroke fest, but you recognize that you're more than just a DJ.
Yeah.
You know, you do so many other things.
I dropped DJ from my name. It's just Quicksilva.
It's Quicksilva.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I don't want to talk about me. This is all about Russ Parr. Once again, who is Russ Parr? If you didn't know, now you know. Where can people follow you on social media?
Russ Parr Show.
Russ Parr Show.
Yeah, you can hit that up at any time, or send you my Instagram and YouTube and Facebook.
Gotcha. Well, you have been informed. This has been an honor. Once again, we back here every week, same time, same place. Shout out to the Who Is team. You know the vibes. Quicksilva salute.